Is this the best hardtail in the world? I don't know about this one. So I'm on a mission to find the best hardtail in the world, and each week I'm frame swapping with all of my parts and testing 8 different frames. For season 1, all frames will be 29-inch aluminum and medium, and the winner will become my personal hardtail. The rest gotta go. But in this episode, I'm already breaking the rules. So last week, everything that I thought that I liked was completely changed. And I was blown away by the nuke-proof Scout that set a new high score of 87 out of 100. And I now have no clue what geometry numbers lead to the perfect hardtail. But today, this bike might change all of that. A Trek Roscoe, the most highly requested bike for this series. This is a custom build that I picked up from the Pros Closet, and this is my first big name brand bike, and I have my doubts. So let's talk about what rules I'm breaking. I don't really know much about Trek bikes. I've never had one before. Well, there was that one time, and I'm pretty confused. They have this in-between size called medium/large, and I've never seen that before. But I mean, it makes sense. Trek is mostly sold in bike shops, and people can try them out before they buy them. But I need something quickly for this series. So I reach out to a Trek connoisseur, Matty Active. We're about the same height. I think he's 5'8", I'm 5'9". He runs a medium large and said that I should get the same size too. And I really hope that's not a mistake, but more about the geometry in a minute. We gotta strip this thing down. While I strip down the bikes, I'd like to thank this video sponsor, the Pros Closet. The Pros Closet is an online bike shop where you can buy new and used bikes, and you can pick up some pretty awesome pre-owned builds, like my friend's Common Saw with EXT suspension. This Roscoe is being sold for $2,300, but when you see the parts, this was a killer deal. Bontrager carbon 30 wheels with Cush core, SRAM XX1 drivetrain, and an SR Suntour Xeron fork. Each bike goes through a 141-point inspection, and they can also help you decide what type of bike that you'd like and recommend the correct size with their ride guide. Every bike has a 30-day money-back guarantee, and they even sell new and used parts as well. So head to the Pros Closet to see what type of deals that you can score by clicking my link in the description. And if you use my code EvansMTB40, you can get $40 off orders $200 or more. So obviously I left a lot of parts on, and you'll see why in a second, but let's score the build quality. Obviously there's a pretty gigantic Trek logo to lure in potential buyers at bike shops, but if we look a little closer, the welds are pretty good. There's also 2 water bottle cage mounts and a UDH if you care about that. This bike is just super refined, 4.2. Then the tubing shape. The head tube has this unique shape. I like it, it looks pretty good. Then the down tube is curved to make space for more water bottle storage. And I really like how the rear triangle flares out a little bit for the brake caliper. I'll give the tubing shape a 4.3. Maybe I'm wrong about Trek. So this is the first frame in the series with internal cable routing, and I'm not happy about it. It actually looks super clean, I gotta admit, but the internal cable routing makes swapping out brakes in a drivetrain way more difficult. So I'm just gonna leave it on. The XX1 drivetrain is a step above what I have, plus I don't think brakes will ruin the test. But for consistency, I'll still be using my wheels, forks, cranks, and bars. But let's get into the geometry, and this frame is interesting. To start off, the head tube angle is the steepest we've tested, 65 degrees, but still very slack. Then the stack is the lowest that we've tested at 639 millimeters. And I really liked having a high stack on the Ragley and the nuke proof, so this Roscoe already kind of has me concerned. But then here's what I'm most concerned about, the reach. This medium large is 455 millimeters, the same reach as the Ragley. After I tested the Ragley, I honestly thought that it was the perfect reach, and I moved forward having this bike sent to me. But then I tested the nuke-proof Scout with a 440 reach, and I thought it was gonna be too small for me, but it blew my mind. It was actually nimble, good at climbing, single track, pedaling. It was a great all-around bike, but on the Ragley with a 455 reach, it was only good at jumping and flow, and it was a so-so everywhere else. So will this Roscoe fit the same as the Ragley and have the same problems? Then the wheelbase. It has a modest 1198 millimeters, but the chainstay is the shortest out of all the bikes that we tested, 430 millimeters. So maybe that means this bike will manual and wheelie well. The last geo number that I want to bring up is the bottom bracket height. With the Scout, I felt high up. I liked it. and the bottom bracket height was 307 millimeters. Well, the Roscoe has a way higher bottom bracket, 321 millimeters. These geometry numbers are all over the place, higher here, lower there, and I have no clue how this bike is gonna ride. But with that, the bike is complete, and dude, what do you guys think about how it looks? Well guys, Trek might be proving me wrong here. With everything together, my parts, the logos, the tubing shape, this is the coolest looking bike that we've done. So I'm gonna give it a 4.5, making this bike already ahead of the rest even before we hit the trail. All right, we're back at Slaughter Pen, same place we tested the Scout. Let's see how this funky geometry goes. All right, we're going straight into tech climbing today. Ugh. Oh yeah, I got some mud. Not bad. So I'll spare you guys because, I mean, tech climbing, it's fun to do, not that fun to watch. But this bike, is a pretty good tech climber. Not as good as the Ragley, but I'll give the tech climbing a 4.22. All right, we're at the flow trails. Let's hit it. Yeah, so for the flow, I mean, it's pretty good. I like how it's stable and all that, but I think I'll give the flow, it's not as good as the Ragley. I'll give the flow a 4.4. Pretty fun though. Oh yeah. Well, this bike is a very average climber. And I really don't like how the front triangle just feels gigantic. I feel like stretched out. It's almost like I want the bars to be like way more narrow to compensate for that really long reach. And I don't like it, it feels uncomfortable. So I'll give the climbing I'm just gonna give it a 3. Let's hit these jumps. Yeah, for cornering, I don't know, it's average. I'll give it a 3.5 on cornering. And now we're getting to some jumps. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Well, it's honestly a really good jumper. So maybe I'm onto something that the bigger bikes jump better. So I'm gonna give it a 4.8 for jumping. Let's go test some single track. All right, time for some single track. This is my favorite trail called Ozone. Not as nimble, I'll tell you that. Yeah. I honestly kind of feel like a goon. Oh. It's almost like I'm fighting this thing. Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh. Dude, I don't know what it is. Like, this bike kind of feels too big or what, but it's like, even my fork doesn't feel that great. Like, you just saw the front wheel just got totally deflected. And that's been happening a lot. Been bottoming out the fork more and more. And I have not touched the settings on the fork at all. So I'll give the single track a 2.5, but let's keep testing. All right, let's test out some chunk. Let's see how compliant this bike is. Here we go. Oh.
Here comes the rock garden. Oh, that was horrible. Oh, we got more chunk. Oh. All right, I'm gonna give the chunk a 2. Well, still good at jumping, but let's talk compliance. Well, the compliance, meaning the way that the frame kind of absorbs bumps. I hear such great things about this Trek Roscoe, but it feels like I got punched in the head going over those rock gardens. And even on the single track, it's just really bumpy all the time. So I'm gonna give I think this frame is too stiff, and I'm gonna give the compliance a 1.5. But I think I have an idea about that. Let's go head back to the shop.
Well, that did not go well, and I think I have an idea why, and it's gotta be because of the fit. This bike just felt way too big for me. Sitting on it here at the shop, it felt good, and I probably would have picked a medium large at a bike shop too, but I really didn't like how long the front triangle felt compared to the rear, so I'm gonna give the fit a 2 out of 5. But I think I may be onto something here. The Wragley and the Trek both had a 455 reach. Both bikes were great jumpers and tech climbers, but didn't ride well when it came to compliance. So does that mean if a bike is too big for you, then maybe it can't absorb bumps as well? Let me know what you think. I actually kind of feel bad about this test, and I should have stuck with the rules, medium size only, despite what the website recommended. And I almost feel like the scoring isn't fair to the Roscoe, and here's what I'll do. If I get enough comments, I'll buy a medium, fork out like 750 bucks, and I'll redo this entire test, but in a few weeks though. But that brings the overall score down to a measly 60 out of 100. And moving forward, no more breaking rules, and I don't think I have any more frames coming up that are as big as the Trek and the Wragley. Coming up, help me decide which frame to test out next week. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on all 8 episodes of Hardtail Quest.